Spin a nunchuck. A nunchuck is one of the most basic types of martial arts weapons. When you first get your nunchuck, you may think that it is a pretty simple tool to use, especially since the concept behind a nunchuck is pretty simple. It is basically two sticks that are held together with a chain or some piece of tough rope. Mastering the nunchuck spin, however, takes time and practice. Here's how. Position. Start by positioning your body for the nunchuck. As with all other types of martial arts, you need to be in the correct position in order for you to be able to control the nunchuck effectively. You will need to stand with your feet positioned at shoulder width. Make sure that you start with one of the ends of the nunchuck hanging over your shoulder. Also make sure that you hold the nunchuck with your thumb just over the rope. This way, you will be able to control the nunchuck with more ease. Get the spin. Now, you will need to get the basic spin for the nunchuck. For you to be able to do this, you will need to move your arm so that the nunchuck moves from just behind your shoulder all the way to your waist area. This will give you the momentum needed for the nunchuck to spin. This should get the free end of the nunchuck in motion. Right after you have gotten the nunchuck in motion, you will need to use your grip to add more force to the nunchuck, and get it to continue spinning. Grip control. To get the nunchuck to continue spinning, you will need to make sure that the chains that keep the nunchuck connected are partially pinched by your thumb. This may seem difficult at first, because the chain will clip your fingers a little bit. But the more you master the grip, the more you will be able to control the chain so that it no longer bites or nips your thumbs. Remember, you can't just hold the other end of the nunchuck. When you do this, you will no longer be able to control the rotation of the nunchuck. Some people use rubber covers on their thumbs to protect their thumbs from the chain. But with a little practice, you will not need this. Wrist motions. Now, you will need to master the circular motions on your wrist, which will give your nunchuck the spin. Make sure that you spin only your wrist, and not your whole arm, and make sure that you spin the nunchuck in a counterclockwise motion. The counterclockwise motion is much easier to control, because it will move the nunchuck closer to your body. Once you have mastered spinning the nunchuck, you can begin to add more speed. If you have never used a nunchuck before, you should start with a slow spin. Remember, the nunchuck will really hurt if you hit yourself with it, which is why you should start with slower speeds. As you learn to maintain the spin and control it, You can add more speed to make the nunchuck even more powerful.